The alarm rang through the bridge of the human starship Aurora's Dawn. Captain Maya Chen looked up from her reports as the red lights flashed across the control panels. Her communications officer, Tom, turned toward her with a worried expression. "Captain, we have an emergency signal coming from the asteroid belt. It's not using any known human frequency." Maya stood up from her chair and walked to the main display screen. The vast darkness of space stretched before them, dotted with floating rocks and debris. Somewhere out there, someone needed help. "Can you clean up the signal?" Maya asked. Tom worked his fingers across the control board. Static filled the bridge speakers, then slowly cleared to reveal a voice. It was soft and musical, but filled with desperation. "This is Kira of the vessel Starwind. My ship is dying. My people are gone. I do not ask for rescue. I ask only that someone remember we existed." The message repeated 3 times, then went silent. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. She had heard many distress calls in her 15 years as a starship captain, but none like this. This was not a call for help. This was a goodbye. "Tom, can you locate the source?" "Already working on it, Captain. The signal is coming from about 2 million kilometers into the asteroid field. It's a small ship, barely showing up on our sensors." Maya looked at her crew. The bridge held 5 people, and they all waited for her decision. The asteroid belt was dangerous. Ships could be crushed by moving rocks or lost in the maze of floating debris. But someone was out there, alone and dying. "Set course for that signal," Maya ordered. "And Tom, keep trying to reach them." The Aurora's Dawn turned toward the asteroid belt. The ship moved carefully between the floating rocks, using sensors to find safe paths through the dangerous field. It took 3 hours to reach the location of the signal. When they found the ship, Maya understood why it barely showed on their sensors. The vessel was unlike anything humans had ever seen. It was long and thin, like a needle made of silver metal. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing with a soft blue light that was slowly fading. "Tom, try to make contact again." "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Maya Chen of the human starship Aurora's Dawn. Please respond." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then the same musical voice came through their speakers, but now it sounded surprised. "Human ship? I did not know humans traveled this far from their home worlds." "We're here to help," Maya said into her microphone. "What is your situation?" Another pause. When the voice came back, it sounded sad and tired. "My life support systems will fail in approximately 6 hours. My ship cannot be repaired with the materials I have. I thank you for your offer, but I cannot accept help. My people believe it is better to face the end with dignity than to burden others." Maya frowned. She had met many alien species in her years of space travel, but she had never met one that refused help when they were dying. "What if it's not a burden?" Maya asked. "What if we want to help?" "Humans are known for their kindness," the voice replied. "But my answer must remain the same. I am Kira, last navigator of the Zephyrian people. We do not take charity." "Then don't call it charity," Maya said quickly. "Call it cooperation. Maybe you have something we need, and we have something you need." This time the silence lasted even longer. Maya waited, watching the silver ship drift slowly among the asteroids. Finally, Kira spoke again. What could the last of a dead species possibly offer to the mighty humans? Maya thought for a moment. She didn't know what Kira might offer, but she knew one thing for certain. She would not let someone die alone in the darkness of space if she could prevent it. "Why don't you come aboard and we can find out together? Just for one night, while we help repair your ship. Just one night," Kira repeated slowly. "And then I continue my journey alone." "If that's what you want," Maya agreed. 20 minutes later, Maya waited in the docking bay as the silver ship attached to her vessel. The docking was perfect, showing a level of piloting skill that impressed even Maya's experienced crew. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and Kira stepped aboard the Aurora's Dawn. Maya had met many different alien species, but Kira was unlike any of them. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow softly in the ship's lights. Her hair was white as starlight and moved as if it floated in water, even though they were in normal gravity. Her eyes were large and silver, like mirrors that reflected the stars. But what struck Maya most was how sad Kira looked. It was a sadness, so deep that it seemed to fill the entire docking bay. "Welcome aboard," Maya said softly. Kira nodded but did not smile. "You are kind to help someone you do not know. But I must warn you, Captain Chen, my ship cannot be truly repaired. It was built with technology my people developed over thousands of years. When it finally dies, the last of Zephyrian engineering dies with it." "Maybe," Maya said. "But let's take a look anyway. My chief engineer Alex is very good at fixing things that shouldn't be fixable." Maya led Kira through the corridors of the Aurora's dawn. The ship was large compared to Kira's vessel, with wide hallways and high ceilings. It housed a crew of 200 humans, all working together to explore the galaxy and help other species. "Your ship is full of life," Kira observed as they walked past crew members going about their duties. "My people's ships were quiet places. We believed in contemplation and silence." "Were?" Maya asked gently. Kira's silver eyes grew even sadder. "The Zephyrian race numbered 50 million when our sun began to die. We had 3 years to evacuate our world. We built ships and scattered across the galaxy, seeking a new home." They entered the engineering section, where Alex was already preparing to examine Kira's ship's systems. Alex was a short, energetic woman with grease-stained hands and a mind that could understand any technology. "That was 50 years ago," Kira continued. "One by one, our ships have fallen silent. Disease, accidents, attacks by hostile species, simple mechanical failures in the vastness of space. I am the last." Alex looked up from her preparations. "The last of 50 million people?" Kira nodded. "But I carry something they did not. I am a navigator. My people gave me the genetic memories of our greatest starfinders. I know the location of the second home." "The second home?" Maya asked. "A planet our ancient texts described. A world where the Zephyrian people could live again. I have spent 50 years searching for it, and I finally found the coordinates. But now my ship dies, and I cannot reach it." Alex stood up, wiping her hands on a cloth. "Well, let's see if we can change that. Show me to your ship's systems." For the next several hours, Maya watched Alex and Kira work together on the silver vessel. It was fascinating to see how the two very different beings approached the same problems. Alex used tools and direct mechanical solutions. Kira seemed to communicate with her ship almost like it was a living thing. "Your ship's power core is completely different from anything I've seen," Alex said, as she examined a crystal formation that glowed with soft blue light. "It's not nuclear or fusion. It's like it's drawing energy from space itself." "The heart of stars," Kira said. "My people learned to capture the energy that flows between star systems. But this heart is very old, and it is tired. Soon it will stop beating forever." Alex studied the crystal for a long time. "I think I can boost its power temporarily, but you're right. This technology is too advanced for permanent repair. The best I can do is give you maybe 3 more weeks of life support." Kira looked relieved. 3 weeks is enough to reach the second home. Thank you for this gift." But Maya was thinking about something else. "Kira, you said you have the coordinates to this second home planet. Can you show them to me?" Kira hesitated. "Why do you wish to know?" "Just curious about where you're going." Kira closed her silver eyes and seemed to look inward. When she opened them again, she spoke a series of numbers that meant nothing to Maya, but which Tom quickly entered into the ship's navigation computer. Maya watched the display screen as the computer calculated the location. What she saw made her heart race with excitement. The coordinates Kira had given pointed to a star system in the Kepler 442 region. Maya knew that area well because humanity had been working there for the past 10 years. They were terraforming a planet in that exact system, turning it from a barren rock into a world that could support human life. "Kira," Maya said carefully, "this planet you're seeking, do you know what it's like? The ancient texts say it has 2 moons and wide oceans. The atmosphere must be changed to support Zephyrian life, but the planet's core is stable and the gravity is correct." Maya felt excitement building in her chest. "What if I told you that humans are already working on that planet? What if we're already changing its atmosphere? Kira stared at her with wide silver eyes. That is not possible. The second home was promised to the Zephyrian people by the ancient prophecies. Maybe the prophecies didn't mean it was promised only to your people, Maya suggested. Maybe it was promised as a home for anyone who needed it. Alex looked up from her work on the crystal power core. Captain, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? Maya nodded. Kira, what if you didn't have to make this journey alone? What if humans and Zephyrians worked together to build a home on this planet? But Kira was already shaking her head. No, my people do not accept charity. We must find our own way or face extinction with honor. This wouldn't be charity, Maya said quickly. Alex, how long would it take us to understand Kira's navigation methods? Alex grinned. Years, maybe decades. The way she pilots that ship is like nothing I've ever seen. She can navigate asteroid fields that would destroy our best pilots. And the way she found coordinates to a planet across the galaxy using just star patterns and genetic memory, that's incredible. Maya turned back to Kira. You see? You have something we need. Humans are good at many things, but navigation in deep space is still dangerous for us. We lose ships every year because we can't read space the way you can. Kira looked confused. You would want to learn Zephyrian navigation methods? We would be honored to learn, Maya said. And in return, we could share our terraforming technology. Together, we could turn your second home into a planet where both species could live. For the first time since boarding the ship, Kira's expression changed. The deep sadness in her silver eyes was joined by something Maya hadn't expected to see. Hope. You would do this, even though I am the last of my people and have nothing else to offer. You're not nothing, Maya said firmly. You're someone who has survived 50 years alone in space, looking for a new home for people who will never see it. You're someone who refuses to give up even when death is 6 hours away. That's not nothing, Kira. That's everything. Kira was quiet for a long moment, staring at the crystal heart of her ship as Alex continued to work on it. The blue light was growing brighter as Alex's modifications took effect. The ancient laws of my people say that Zephyrians must not be a burden to other species. Kira said finally. Then don't be a burden, Maya replied. Be a partner. Alex finished her work and stood up. There you go. Your power core should last about 3 weeks now. That's enough to get you wherever you need to go. Kira touched the crystal gently and it pulsed with renewed blue light. You have given my ship new life. I must honor my word and leave at dawn to continue my journey alone. Maya nodded, though she felt disappointed. She had hoped Kira might consider staying, might think about the possibility of cooperation between their species, but she had promised Kira could leave after one night, and she would keep that promise. Of course, Maya said. But Kira, if you change your mind, you'll always have friends among the humans. The three of them left Kira's ship and returned to the Aurora's dawn. Maya offered Kira guest quarters, but the Zephyrian chose to spend the night on the bridge, watching the stars through the large viewing window. Maya found her there several hours later, sitting quietly as space turned slowly around them. Can't sleep? Maya asked, sitting down in a nearby chair. Zephyrians need very little sleep, Kira replied. I was thinking about your offer. And? Kira sighed, a sound like wind through crystal chimes. For 50 years I have been alone. I have spoken to no one, shared thoughts with no one, worked beside no one. Today, for the first time in half a century, I remembered what it felt like to have companions. Maya waited, letting Kira continue at her own pace. But the laws of my people are clear. We do not accept charity even when we are dying. What if the laws are wrong? Maya asked gently. Kira turned to look at her with those silver mirror eyes. What do you mean? You said your people scattered across the galaxy 50 years ago, looking for new homes. But they all died alone, didn't they? Every ship that fell silent was full of Zephyrians who followed the ancient laws and refused help from other species. Kira nodded slowly. Maybe the laws were right for your home world, Maya continued. But maybe they don't work in the galaxy. Maybe survival out here requires cooperation, not independence. You think my people died because they were too proud to accept help? Maya chose her words carefully. I think your people died because they were alone, and I think you're the last chance to learn a better way. Kira was quiet for a long time, watching the stars wheel past the viewing window. Finally, she spoke in a voice so soft Maya had to lean forward to hear it. The coordinates I gave you today lead to a star system where 3 planets orbit a stable sun. The second planet is the one described in our ancient texts. But Captain Chen, there are 2 other planets in that system that could also be made habitable. Maya felt her heart speed up. 3 planets? 3 worlds that could be changed to support life. Enough room for many species to build new homes. Kira paused. If they worked together. The 2 women sat in comfortable silence, watching the universe turn around them. Somewhere out there, a planet waited that could become home to both humans and the last of the Zephyrians. But first, Kira had to choose between the ancient ways of her people and a new path that had never been tried before. Dawn came to the Aurora's dawn, as it always did in space, marked by the ship's artificial day-night cycle, rather than any real sunrise. Maya found Kira standing by her silver ship preparing to leave. "Your engineer's modifications are working perfectly," Kira said. "My ship is ready for the journey to the second home." Maya nodded. "Safe travels, Kira. I hope you find what you're looking for." Kira stepped toward her ship, then stopped. She turned back to Maya with an expression that seemed caught between hope and fear. "Captain Chen, if a Zephyrian navigator wanted to offer her services to a human starship, would such an offer be considered valuable?" Maya smiled. "Extremely valuable. And if that same navigator needed help reaching a distant planet, would helping her be considered a fair trade for her services?" "More than fair," Maya replied. Kira took a deep breath. "Then I have a proposal for you." Maya waited as Kira stood between 2 choices: her silver ship that would take her alone to the second home, and the human vessel that offered partnership but challenged everything her people had believed. "My proposal is this," Kira said, her silver eyes reflecting the lights of the docking bay. "I will guide your ship to the second home. In return, your people will help me prepare the planet for Zephyrian life. When the work is complete, we go our separate ways." Maya considered this carefully. It was not the full partnership she had hoped for, but it was a beginning. "Agreed," Maya said. "But Kira, I have one condition. If at any time you change your mind about going separate ways, the offer of permanent partnership remains open." Kira nodded. "That is fair." Within hours, the Aurora's dawn was moving toward the coordinates Kira had provided. The silver ship Starwind traveled alongside them, its blue lights pulsing steadily thanks to Alex's repairs. The journey to the second home would take 3 weeks, even with the advanced human engines. During that time, Maya watched Kira work with her crew and marveled at the Zephyrians' abilities. Kira could navigate through dangerous space fields that would challenge even the best human pilots. She seemed to sense the movement of asteroids before the ship's computers could calculate their paths. When they encountered a solar storm that would have forced the Aurora's dawn to change course for days, Kira guided them through it in just 6 hours. "How do you do it?" Alex asked one day as they watched Kira pilot both ships through a dense field of space debris. "My people evolved on a world with 3 moons," Kira explained, her hands moving gracefully over the controls. The tides and gravitational forces were constantly changing. "We learned to feel the pull of gravity and the flow of magnetic fields. In space, these forces create invisible rivers that I can follow." Tom, the communications officer, shook his head in amazement. "Our computers need hours to calculate what you do in seconds. And your computers can analyze atmospheric compositions and plan terraforming projects in ways my people never imagined," Kira replied. "Each species has different gifts." As the days passed, Maya noticed changes in Kira. The deep sadness was still there, but it was joined by something else. Kira seemed to enjoy working with the human crew. She began eating meals with them instead of alone. She asked questions about human culture and shared stories of her own people. "Zephyrians lived very long lives," Kira told them one evening in the ship's common area. "Our normal lifespan was about 300 years. We had time to master many skills and to think deeply about the universe." "How old are you?" Maya asked. "I am 143 years old, still young by my people's standards." Kira paused. "Though I feel much older after 50 years of solitude." "You don't have to be alone anymore," Alex said gently. Kira looked around at the humans gathered in the room. "Sometimes I forget that I am the only Zephyrian left. When I work with all of you, it feels like I have a new kind of family." Maya felt a warm hope growing in her chest. Perhaps Kira was beginning to see that the ancient laws of her people might not be the only way forward. On the 15th day of their journey, they received an unexpected transmission. It was coming from the direction of their destination. This is Commander David Kim of the terraforming station New Horizon. Unknown vessels, please identify yourselves. You are approaching a restricted construction zone. Maya looked at Kira, who appeared confused. There should be no one at the second home, Kira said. The ancient text spoke of an empty world. Maya activated the communication system. Commander Kim, this is Captain Maya Chen of the Aurora's Dawn. We're approaching the planet at coordinates. She read off the numbers Kira had given them. Captain Chen? We weren't expecting any ships for another month. What brings you to Kepler 442b? Maya realized that the humans had given their own name to Kira's second home. It's a long story, Commander. We're bringing someone who believes this planet was meant to be her new home. 3 days later, the Aurora's Dawn and the Starwind arrived at the second home. What they found amazed both Maya and Kira. The planet hung in space like a blue-green jewel. 2 silver moons orbited around it, just as Kira's ancient text had described. But the planet was not empty. Orbital stations surrounded it, and the surface showed clear signs of terraforming work in progress. My God, Kira whispered as they looked at the planet on the main viewing screen. It is exactly as the prophecies described. But your people are already here. Commander Kim's ship approached to escort them to the main orbital station. As they docked, Maya could see that the station was enormous, designed to support thousands of workers and their families. Commander Kim met them at the airlock. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes that showed the wisdom of someone who had spent decades turning dead worlds into living ones. Welcome to New Horizon Station, he said, then stopped when he saw Kira. My word, I've never seen anyone like you before. What species are you? I am Zephyrian, Kira replied. I am also the last of my people. Kim's expression became serious and sympathetic. I'm sorry to hear that. Captain Chen, why don't you tell me why you've brought her here? Maya explained Kira's story as they walked through the station corridors. The station was bustling with activity. Engineers and scientists hurried back and forth carrying equipment and data tablets. Through the large windows, they could see shuttles coming and going from the planet's surface. We've been working on this planet for 8 years, Kim explained as they entered his office. It's one of our most ambitious terraforming projects. When we're finished, it will support about 10 million people. 10 million humans, Kira said quietly. Kim looked at her carefully. Actually, we've designed it to support several different atmospheric mixes. We always build our colonies to accommodate other species. But Kira, I have to ask, why do you believe this planet belongs to your people? Kira explained about the ancient Zephyrian prophecies and the coordinates that had been passed down through genetic memory. As she spoke, Kim's expression grew more and more interested. Genetic memory navigation, he said when she finished. That's incredible. Do you realize how valuable that skill would be for deep space exploration? That's what I've been trying to tell her, Maya said. But Kira's people believed in independence. They thought accepting help from other species was wrong. Kim stood up and walked to a large display screen on his office wall. With a few touches, he brought up a detailed map of the galaxy. Kira, I want to show you something. These red dots represent colonies that different species have tried to establish in the past 50 years. The map showed hundreds of red dots scattered across their region of the galaxy. Now, these green dots represent successful colonies that are still thriving. Only about 30 dots turned green. The rest remained red. Do you see the pattern? Kim asked. Kira studied the map carefully. Maya could see understanding dawning in her silver eyes. The green dots are clustered together, Kira said slowly. The red dots are isolated. Exactly, Kim said. The colonies that survived are the ones where different species worked together. The ones that failed tried to go it alone. He touched the screen again and new information appeared. This planet we're terraforming, we're using atmospheric processors designed by the Mentari people, gravity stabilizers invented by the Corvin engineers, and soil enhancement techniques developed by the Terran Alliance. No single species could have made this world habitable by themselves. Kira sat down heavily in a chair. You are saying that my people died because they refused to cooperate with others. I'm saying that survival in space requires community, Kim said gently. And Kira, if you're really the last of your people, then you have a choice. You can follow their old ways and eventually die alone, or you can try something new. Maya watched Kira struggle with this revelation. Everything the Zephyrian had believed about honor and independence was being challenged. What exactly are you proposing? Kira asked. Kim smiled. I'm proposing that we establish the first joint human-Zephyrian colony. This planet is big enough for both our peoples. We provide the terraforming technology, and you provide navigation expertise for future exploration missions. But I am only one person, Kira protested. I cannot build a Zephyrian civilization by myself. Actually, you could, Alex said. She had been quiet during the conversation, but now she spoke up with excitement. Kira, you carry the genetic memories of your people, right? Including their knowledge of science and culture? Kira nodded. Then you can teach that knowledge to others. Humans who want to learn Zephyrian navigation, or even humans who want to adopt Zephyrian culture and become honorary Zephyrians. Maya felt a thrill of excitement. Alex is right. You wouldn't just be the last Zephyrian. You could be the first of a new kind of Zephyrian civilization, one that includes humans and maybe other species too. For the first time since Maya had met her, Kira smiled. It was a small smile, but it transformed her entire face. A new kind of civilization, she repeated. One based on cooperation instead of isolation. Kim nodded enthusiastically. We could start immediately. There are 3 continents on this planet that are ready for settlement. We could establish a joint colony where humans and Zephyrians work together to build something completely new. Kira stood up and walked to the window that looked out at the planet. The blue-green world turned slowly beneath them, its 2 moons hanging like silver guardians in the star-filled sky. Captain Chen, she said without turning around. You asked me to consider partnership instead of independence. I have been thinking about this for 3 weeks. Maya held her breath, waiting. I accept, Kira said, but I have conditions. Name them, Maya replied immediately. Kira turned from the window. First, this cannot be charity. Zephyrians who choose to join this colony must contribute their skills and knowledge. We will earn our place here. Agreed, Kim said. Second, humans who wish to learn Zephyrian ways must be willing to embrace our values of contemplation and harmony with natural forces. This cannot be a human colony with a few Zephyrians added as decoration. Maya nodded. What's the third condition? Kira's smile grew larger. There is no third condition. I simply wanted to see if you would accept the first 2 without arguing. Alex laughed. I think you're going to fit in just fine with humans, Kira. Over the next several days, Maya watched the beginning of something unprecedented in galactic history. Humans and the last Zephyrian worked together to plan a colony that would blend the best of both civilizations. Kira shared her navigation knowledge with human pilots, teaching them to feel the invisible currents of space. In return, human engineers showed her how terraforming equipment could be modified to create the specific atmospheric conditions Zephyrians preferred. The beauty of this plan, Kim explained to Maya as they watched Kira work with a team of human scientists, is that it solves problems for both species. Humans have always struggled with deep space navigation. Zephyrians needed terraforming technology to make new worlds habitable. Maya nodded. Separate, both species have limitations. Together, they can reach any world in the galaxy and make it livable. On their final day at the orbital station, Maya found Kira alone in the observation deck, looking down at the planet that would soon be her new home. Having second thoughts? Maya asked. Kira shook her head. I am thinking about my people. For 50 years, I believed I was carrying out their wishes by continuing their journey alone. Now I wonder if what they really wanted was for Zephyrian culture to survive, even if it had to change to do so. What do you think they would say about your decision? Kira was quiet for a long moment. I think they would be proud that their navigation knowledge will help humans explore new worlds. And I think they would be happy that Zephyrian values of harmony and contemplation will be preserved, even if they are shared with other species. Maya smiled. You're not just the last Zephyrian, Kira. You're the first of something new. 3 months later, Maya received a message as the Aurora's dawn traveled to its next mission. The message came from the surface of the planet that humans now called New Harmony, and Zephyrians called the Second Home. The message was from Kira, and it included pictures of the first permanent structures of the joint colony. Maya could see buildings that blended human engineering with Zephyrian artistic sensibilities. Gardens where human crops grew alongside plants that Kira had cultivated from seeds preserved in her genetic memory. But the most amazing picture showed a group of humans and Kira working together to pilot a new type of exploration ship. The vessel used human technology guided by Zephyrian navigation techniques. Captain Chen, Kira's message said, I want to thank you for teaching me that cooperation is not weakness, and that accepting help is not abandoning honor. The first class of human students has completed basic Zephyrian navigation training. Next month, we launch our first joint exploration mission to survey planets that could become new colonies. The message continued. I also want to tell you something I could not say when we first met. When I broadcast that final message from my dying ship, I was not just saying goodbye to the galaxy. I was hoping that someone would hear it and remember that the Zephyrian people had existed. You did more than remember us, Captain Chen. You helped us live again. Maya wiped tears from her eyes as she finished reading the message. Around her, the bridge crew of the Aurora's Dawn continued their work of exploring the galaxy and helping other species. Tom, Maya said to her communications officer, send a message back to New Harmony. Tell Kira that humans are honored to be partners with the Zephyrian people, and that we look forward to exploring the galaxy together. As the message transmitted across the vast distances of space, Maya looked out at the stars and thought about the future. Somewhere out there were other species facing extinction, other peoples who believed they had to face the end alone. But now the galaxy had an example of a different way. It had the joint human-Zephyrian colony on New Harmony, where cooperation had turned potential tragedy into shared triumph. Maya smiled as she remembered Kira's words from that first night. Just one night. And then I continue my journey alone. But as Kira had turned to leave, she had whispered coordinates and a hidden plea for connection. She had asked humanity to follow, to choose partnership over isolation. And humanity had answered that call as they always did. Because humans understood something that many species forgot, that no one survives alone in the vastness of space, and that sometimes the greatest strength comes from admitting you need help. The galaxy was vast and often dangerous, but it was also full of possibilities for those brave enough to reach out to each other across the darkness between the stars.